Hello and welcome back to the game room. You know what I love? Video games. You know what I love? Talking about games. And it seems like a lot of people these days who cover games seem to hate them. Or at least the people who play them. Well, that's not me, and that's not the 5,434 of you beautiful people checking out this video here today. We are back to the Nintendo Switch. This is, I want to say, the 21st Switch video we're doing. And I thought for today's video, because I've noticed in some of the comments, for other YouTubers, a lot of people get angry when there's nothing but limited run games, super rare games, that kind of thing on these kind of videos. Whereas I don't quite understand that because I'm also a physical collector and I want to have these games physically. Yes, you can get some of these for $5, $6 when they're limited runs, but that's not the point. But hey, I took the feedback, and so for today's video, we are doing nothing but basic games, more or less, that were not limited run releases. So we have no limited run anything on this video, no super rare games, special reserve, anything. So these are all retail releases, and because of that, I have not played all of them, so forgive me for that. But if you want to take a look at 10 games you should pick up on the Switch before prices go up, let's take a look. There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. My name's Luke. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is my game room.
Alright, so to start here, part of the reason why I haven't had much time to look at any of the other Switch games in my collection is largely because of this game we're going to talk about, which just released. I don't know if it was a limited release or not. When it first was announced, you could only buy copies of it through Square Enix themselves. Though now I think they're on Amazon, and it's only $50. It's a remaster of probably, if not one of my favorite games of all time. And that game is Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. And I was so invested in this game, I not only bought it on the Switch 1, I bought the digital Switch 2 version, even though you could do a free upgrade, long story. I bought the PS5 version, and I completely forgot that I bought the damn collector's edition. And what's nice about Square Enix lately is that when they sell these collector's editions, they sell the collector's junk separate of the game, and then they send the game separately. So you can, this is the same collector's edition for the PS5, for the Switch, if there's an Xbox version. So it's a brilliant move on their end, so they have to make less SKUs, especially because they're just dropping either a code or the game in the box, as well as because I'm a stupid shelf collector who's never going to open this, even though I might open this one. It's got the cool chocobos and the Zodiac stones. But anyways, yes, Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles, phenomenal game. I've never played the War of the Lions translation, so I'm not too familiar with how it updated things, other than the fact that now while I'm playing through the game, a lot of the names I remember are now different. Things like Stasis Sword being Judgment's Blade, Crushing Sword, or Lightning Strike. You know, some of the name changes annoy me a little bit. The names of the characters themselves, you know, originally I remembered Aldous, now it's Algoth or Argoth, or things like that, like the Count Draculo was maybe just Count Dracula. So things like that were changed. The dialogue is a lot more Shakespearean in nature, but I understand the plot a lot better. However, I think I do still prefer the original 1997, just prose, I guess you would say. The way it sounds, it's a little bit more deliberate, a little bit less highbrow. But I don't know. I miss the old names. I miss the old names I'm used to. But that's just me. I am playing it on Tactician mode. I am also playing the Enhanced Edition to see what the differences are. The way you navigate updating the jobs, going through and doing that can be... It's one of those things where I don't know if it's worse. I'm just so used to the way it works on the original. I like having the ability to skip random battles if I want. I like having the ability to kind of abort out of a failed mission and go back to the title screen. It's a lot easier to restart a mission when you fail. But overall, I think it can be a detriment to new players. There's a YouTuber I follow called Preach Gaming. He played through on Tactician mode, and based on the comments I'm seeing in his playthrough, a lot of people are upset with how he played. I'm guessing because he mid-maxed it or didn't go too far into the skill trees, just found things that worked and stuck with it, as well as avoided those random encounters, which then forces you to level your team. Overall, though, the game is a masterful recreation, especially finding out that they lost the source code. It feels, it sounds, it looks like the original Tactics. There are a few quality of life things they changed here and there, as well as a few things that I can't quite remember if they've been changed or not. But overall, phenomenal way to play this game. If you did not play it on the PS1 and are not stuck in your ways, this is a great jumping off point. Having the different difficulty options is good, I suppose. I'm playing it on Tactician mode, and I'm also so ingrained in the strategies I do, such as using, Phoenix Downs for days, using potions for days, getting extra job, extra skill ups, that kind of thing. I'm not really coming into too many roadblocks. Right now, I am at the Rivenous Castle. I'm about to fight Weegraf, but just love the game to death. I would tell everyone, buy this game, buy multiple copies of it. I did. I've spent, God, more money than I care to admit on this release because I want to support it. I have not played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance or Grimoire A2. And I would much rather play a remaster of those than go back and play it on the DVA or the DS and see if maybe they make some improvements to the judge system. I just love this series so much, and please go out and support it if it's something that looks interesting. I know tactical RPGs are not for everybody, but this is the one that sold me. So if you want a good gateway into the genre, this one is good, as well as with the enhanced updates and the different play styles. They've never made it more approachable, which in my opinion is kind of a bummer. Having people get hard stuck on the Weegraf fight, that kind of thing, is something that I really hang my hat on as valuable gamer knowledge, persistence, development type things. Sometimes you need those failures. I did manage to muggle through without having to restart the game. I know others didn't. But yeah, just a really, really solid game. One to grab. Do I think it's going to go up in value? Probably not. But it might, especially because all tactical RPGs do. And who knows how the physical editions are going to sell. So one I highly recommend. Definitely the collector's edition will. But that's just, those collector's editions are stupid. I don't know why I spend so much. I just got to support my series. Alright, moving on to the next game here. Another tactical game. This is kind of the other flip side of the coin. It's more of a, real-time strategy tactical game, less the individual units, more armies, and that game is Advanced Wars Reboot Camp 1 and 2, which now that I finally own it, there is a reversible cover. I don't know if that is the cover of the second game or how that plays out into it. For the longest time, I've danced around picking this up. I think I finally grabbed it recently on a Woot deal of all things, which Woot is not a scam. It's some sort of liquidator or whatnot that you have attached to your Amazon account that you can access. I think I got it for like $30. And it famously was delayed after the incidents back in October a couple of years ago. Finally came out. One of those games was like, when is it coming out? Instead of getting a new Advance Wars, we got a remake of the first two. But as the first two are several years old and locked on the GBA, this was definitely something I wanted to get my hands on. I was famously not a big fan of the Wargroove game when I played it, which is more or less a love letter to this game, as well as I am much bigger fan of Fire Emblem, which I think Intelligent Systems does this one too. This is their other series, this goes all the way back to the NES with the game called Famicom Wars, which essentially is the progenitor to this. It was the first game they made before the original Fire Emblem. But it's just the first two games, upscaled, updated. Nothing's changed. It's just them. They haven't really done anything else to it. But if you want to play some legendary games in the sort of not necessarily tactical, this one is much more RTS-like in my opinion, but it is fun. It is a fun game. Just I prefer tactics more than I prefer this style of game. Alright, moving on. So once again, like I said, we're talking about all these games that were retail releases, which means these are a bunch of basic, type games, but this is one I haven't spoken of yet, and that is Kirby Star Allies. thing this was most famous for is when it was announced. This was one of the earlier games announced for the Switch. I want to say in 2018. I think they announced it in the December Direct of 2017. Back when everyone's like, all right, you shot your shot with Zelda, Mario Rabbids, even Xenoblade. What's going to come out? Their answer was a Kirby game. And what made this one set aside is that it was a 2D side-scrolling Kirby game where you could play it with up to 4 players. So it got the new Super Mario Brothers treatment. That's basically all I know about this game. I picked it up on sale for like $20 or $30 maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Still have yet to open it. It's another one of those games I thought would be fun to play with my wife, or now my daughter and my wife down the line, because it is simultaneous play up to 4 players. But I just, I played the simultaneous play of New Super Mario Brothers on the Wii when it came out, and I was over it very, very quickly. I don't know what it is. It's one of those things where it sounds good in theory, but then once you start doing it and people are jumping on your head, killing you on accident, you're getting those classic Contra moments, but without the classic Contra gameplay, it lost its luster. And I'm less interested in Kirby games, but it was one that I wanted to pick up, and you guys should grab too, just because all the Nintendo games go up in price eventually, and that's another one. If you want to grab it, you probably should. Speaking of Nintendo games that got better as time went on, famously, the Nintendo sports games, ever since the GameCube era, I feel like get nothing but a bunch of grief from the moment they come out, especially the ones that came out, say, in the Wii U era and beyond. And I don't remember as much hate for this game when it came out, and that was Super Mario Tennis Aces. So this was another early release for the Switch, 2018, 2019-ish. Back, once again, before, like, all the good games for the Switch, the really big monumental ones came out in 2017. And then there's still some good games that came out after that, but it was a little farther and fewer between. Yeah, 2018 is when this game came out. So yeah, we got the biggest releases of 2018 here, guys. It's not Yoshi's Crafted World. But yes, Mario Tennis Aces, when it came out, they infamously have added more content to it, which is a lot of what they do with these Mario sports games. When they come out, they're a little bare bones. People get very upset about it, and then they will slowly release content for it, and people will start not saying anything after that. And I know that's kind of what happened with this game. It plays like a Mario Tennis game. The nice thing and the not nice thing about the Mario sports games when you buy them once for every system, every console generation, is it's like, all right, you know how this is going to play. I don't have to tell you how it's going to play. They may have a new story mode here and there. In fact, I think they just announced a new tennis game. Was that it? I know they might have just announced a new Mario Tennis for the Switch too. It looked pretty interesting. I'll probably buy the damn thing too and not play very much. These games just harken back to the N64 days, when you had Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, and then the GameCube, when you had the Mario Baseball, the Mario Soccer games, where it just was a nice, fun novelty. It was a great pick-up-and-play game to play in couch co-op. How well these have translated to playing them online just has never quite been there. Maybe one day it will be. I don't suspect it will be, but it's still another good one to have for those instances where you have people in your home playing it, as well as another fun one that I can play with my daughter as she gets older. But by then, there'll probably be a new version of it on the Switch 5, and we'll get that one. But yes, Mario Tennis Aces, another one to grab, and yes, not a limited run release. All right, moving on to the next game here. This is one that I grabbed. There's an English version. I think I got the Japanese Play Asia version of it because it was a little cheaper of it. Maybe the English release was made by Limited Run. I don't know. But this game is famously on the PS1, and I think the next one was on the PS2. And that is the Grandia collection, 1 and 2. Now, I have zero experience with this game on any system or any of the versions of it, but this came out in a time, it was one of the first ones, I think it was around the same time Langrisser 1 and 2 came out, where they were starting to release a lot of these older PS1 games, SNES games as collections for the Switch. And I just wanted to jump on this one. I got the Japanese version of it, but because the Switch is region-free, it does have English in it, so it doesn't matter. It's a little bit cheaper. I don't care about having the slipcover that says NTSC, at least not on the Switch, since it's not really needed. But yeah, I have both of these games, know nothing about it, wanted to have it in the collection, looking forward to playing them at some point. Though I do have Grandia on the PS1, though I'm missing the manual. I hate that. I have a lot of PS1 games that are double CD that are missing the manual because you still get the front cover, so it's not as needed as a single CD jewel case is. But Grandia 2, I think, is a PS2 game. I could be wrong. But yeah, let me know. These games are very solid. I've heard. I love me some old school PS1 RPGs. So is that one I should dive into sooner than later here if I ever get time? I mean, right now I'm barely able to get any time to play Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. So we'll see if I ever have time for something like that. Anyways, moving on to the next one. So here's a game that pretty much is one of the best damn sellers on the system. Price on this should probably never go up, but you never know. This is one you might want to grab, especially for your significant other, and that game is Animal Crossing New Horizons. This game came out at the perfect time, right as COVID hit in 2020. There was a version that even launched with the Switch. And I got this for my wife. So she played it during the beginnings of COVID, had a ball with it. It reminds me of the original one on the GameCube that I played. And I could never really get into this. Having an island, I couldn't figure out how to get more people to move to my island. And I'm beyond this kind of game. Like, this is the kind of game that's perfect when you're a kid, when you want to have something or play 3 or 4 different games in a day. Check on your island, see how it is, and then move on to your next story-based game. Move on to this or that. But the thought of checking in here in real time every day, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to do that. I can't be in the game at any certain point. But and also Tom Nook, basically making you an indentured servant is funny. I enjoy the memes. But one to grab, you gotta have a copy of this, and they're everywhere. I think it's the second best selling game on the Switch, other than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and it's fun. It is fun. There is fun in exploring, designing your own thing. Things that I can't get down with, you guys might. So that's definitely one to grab for your Switch collection. Moving on here, we have another RPG sequel, though this one was designed for the Switch. I think it might have even been exclusive to the Switch when it came out. But I don't think it is anymore. That game is Bravely Default 2. Famously made by, I want to say, Team Asano, the people who did the Octopath games. And they originally made Bravely Default for the 3DS. It's where they came up with the Bravely and the Default system that they then took and enhanced and made far better, in my opinion, for Octopath Traveler. But then they went back to this style and made this game. And once again, if I could get past the art style on this, where it just looks like you're playing as block me people, I'm sure I get down with the really cool, complex combat system. I've heard it has a much better story than the first game, but once again, I don't know. On paper, this is something I needed to have in my collection, and I would tell you guys, if you like RPGs, grab this one as well. Maybe they'll do a remaster. I know people are asking for that for the Switch too. Because I just did the first one, but that was a key card, which sucks. You gotta have it physical. So yes, that's another one to grab. All right, last few here we're getting down to. So the other game here that was one that I held off on buying for a long time. It's heavily text-based, so there's a lot of reading in it. And it just sounded interesting, though I have seen some people say this game is like the greatest game ever, and then other people say it's just not for them, which that's kind of the feedback I look for. I like that in a game because then that means that there is a polarization effect with it, that you either get it or you don't. And I want to find out which side of the coin I fall on, because generally I am one of the people that will side with the, oh yeah, this game is great. And so that game is Disco Elysium: The Final Cut. Originally came out on Xbox and PlayStation consoles. The Switch version took a long time to come out, which was kind of what I was holding off for, based back when I was waiting for games that I could get on the Switch, and before I had gotten enough games that were multi-platform and then realized, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't be waiting for games to come on the Switch. And so that's kind of why I haven't played this one. In the last video, I talked about games that did not run great on the Switch, and even then some of the comments would agree with me and other ones would not. So I don't know why that is, if that's a version of the Switch, how late the release is, if there's certain firmware, if you have a different memory card. I mean, when we're talking about physical hardware, that's one of the limitations of it, which is why a lot of these developers are going to cloud-based this and that, because that level of variance can be everything down to the system you have, the internet you have, the power connections you have, all these different variables, which doesn't sound like it makes sense, and I might be talking completely out of my ass, but I just feel like that does factor into some of these things. And so that's why I haven't played this yet. But I hear it's really good. It's just very heavily text-based. So at the time, I did not have glasses yet. And so that's why I was like, all right, let's hold off on that. Let's make sure that I can read it, because I don't want to have another Divinity Original Sin 2 issue happen. But yes, another great one that I grabbed on the Switch, though I think it's on other systems too, but I really wanted to try it out on the Switch. Pop it in my Switch 2 one of these days. Alright, and then the last game here that is an RPG is one that got a lot of negativity towards it. In fact, this entire series, since even the one on the Wii has really gotten a lot of negativity on it, which I loved the one on the Wii, so that always has me thinking, is the game that bad? Like, because they all harken back to Super Mario RPG, which is just untouchable. And then to some extent, the first Paper Mario and then the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. But the game we're going to talk about is Paper Mario, the Origami King. And I've not heard anything good about this. I want to say I saw a YouTuber, Jason Graves, cover all the Paper Mario games. And I can't remember if he said good things about this or not. And I think he might have, or he might have said good things about Color Splash. I will say Color Splash, I've heard nothing but good things from people who've played it, whereas Origami King, not so much. So I'll leave that until I actually try it one of these days, though I'm probably much more likely to go play Color Splash before any of the other ones. And yes, I did love the one on the Wii. Having their perspective change backwards and forwards was such a cool mechanic. To this day, I still loved it. In fact, I played Thousand Year Door about 2 or 3 years ago on the GameCube, and I thought it was okay, but not nearly as good as everyone says it is. So, like, it's no Mario RPG. It's not even as good as Paper Mario, in my opinion. But hey, I look forward to your downvotes. If you've gotten this far in the video, it's fine. You can downvote it. All right. But yeah, Origami King, don't know anything about it. But that's one you gotta grab. All these games, like I said, I haven't talked about a lot of these because I haven't played them yet. But because for this video, I wanted to do one where there was nothing limited run related, and I am playing so much Final Fantasy Tactics. Sorry guys, that's what you're getting. And the last game we're talking about here is another early release for the Switch. It was a brand new franchise. It looked like it should have been a Punch-Out game, but it wasn't. And then it came and went, and we've really not heard anything about it in the last 5 years. And that is ARMS, which famously I bought twice. So I bought it on Amazon, and when the day was supposed to be delivered, it never showed. And so I reached out to Amazon, and they sent me another copy, and then boom, I had my copy of ARMS. And then later, maybe a month later, like a long time ago, the way at the time I was living in a house that had basically 2 front entrances. So you had the front entrance and then the back entrance, but you could see both of them. Like, so the carport, you could get to both of them. It was a manufactured home, nothing crazy. And so I never used the back entrance. The back entrance had like a chair on it, all these other things. Like, I never went back there. And so just randomly that day or whatever it was when I found it, I looked back there and there was an Amazon package sitting on the chair back there, and that was the copy of ARMS. So I actually had a second had my copy show up. They just delivered it to the back porch, which I never check. And so I ended up gifting it to my buddy Sean. Of course, I wouldn't tell Amazon about it because that was mine now. But yeah, so I had 2 copies of this damn game. And it's still sealed. I've never played it. To this day, I've never played it because, once again, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I support the system. From what I've heard, it's a fun game. It's a really fun game. It's 1 to 4 players. But the whole thing is you're playing as a fighter and you have stretchy arms. And then the motion controls for the Switch, you could detach them and then play that way. But it seemed like such a strange decision by Nintendo to make a boxing game that was not Punch-Out. Like, I feel like this game would have been much more successful if it just had been Punch-Out ARMS or Punch-Out Future or whatever. Like, you can do a lot with that, but just give me Little Mac in there and then give the rest. I don't know, maybe they want to be associated with it or having to be reliant on that for this game. But it didn't really pan out for them. I mean, other than having one of the ARMS characters be, I want to say, an assist trophy in Smash Brothers, we have not heard much from the series at all. And some people really, really enjoy it. So I've always wanted to give it a shot. Will I? Probably not at this point, unless they do something else with the series. But yeah, one you might want to pick up and try out. You know, I should open the damn thing, but we'll see. But yes, there you have it. There are 10 games you should go up and pick up for the Switch that are not limited releases. So go get them. Go. Let me know how you enjoyed this video. As a reminder, I release a new video every Tuesday. It's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.